Ever heard the saying? The difference between a winner and a loser is not talented. It's the courage to keep going when everyone else quits. This is the story of a man who lived that truth. It was a cold December morning when Daniel Blake stood outside yet another job interview, the 5th one that month. His resume trembled in his hand, not from the wind, but from his own crippling self-doubt. He'd been rejected so many times, he started to believe he just wasn't good enough. Once a bright engineering graduate with huge dreams, Daniel was now crammed into a tiny room, barely making ends meet. Maybe it's time to give up, he whispered. But a voice deep inside him whispered back, no, not yet. He took a deep breath and walked in. The interview didn't go well. Again. He forced a smile when they thanked him, but he could read the familiar dismissal in their eyes. We'll let you know. Those words haunted him. Defeated, Daniel sat on a park bench. His savings were almost gone. He could feel his parents' silent disappointment over the phone. The city buzzed with life all around him, but he felt completely invisible, like he didn't belong anywhere. As he stared at the ground, he noticed something incredible. A tiny flower, pushing its way up through a crack in the concrete. It was fragile, yet it stood tall against the cold. That little flower sparked a fire in him. If this tiny thing can survive here, he thought, maybe I can too. That night, Daniel made a promise to himself. No more self-pity. It was time to fight back. He started studying again, not for grades, but for genuine growth. He devoured free online tutorials, read motivational books, and learned new skills. He applied for smaller roles, internships, even unpaid work, anything to get his foot back in the door and learn. Weeks turned into months. No big breakthrough came, but Daniel felt a change within himself. He was no longer waiting for a savior. He was building himself, brick by brick. Then one day, while volunteering at a kid's robotics workshop, an older man approached him. You teach with real passion, the man said with a smile. Are you an engineer? Daniel nodded. Good, the man replied. I run a tech startup. Come by tomorrow, I'd like to see your work. That small conversation changed everything. The next day, Daniel showed up at a modest workspace filled with young minds and big ideas. He laid out his projects, his designs, and honestly shared his journey of failures and learning. The man listened intently and then said something Daniel would never forget. I do UNT hire based on success? Daniel, I hire based on hunger. You've got that. Welcome aboard. After months of hearing no, someone finally said yes. But this was just the beginning. The startup was struggling. Funds were low, and their main project, affordable robot for elderly care, kept failing. Daniel poured his soul into it, working day and night, coding, redesigning, and refusing to quit. His colleagues told him to take a break, but he couldn't. This wasn't just a job. It was his redemption. Then, one evening, after an 18-hour marathon in the lab, it happened. The robot moved. Smoothly. Perfectly. It worked. Daniel jumped. He shouted, and tears of pure joy streamed down his face. He had done it. That prototype caught the eye of investors. Within a year, the startup exploded. One evening, standing on a conference stage, Daniel shared his story. I failed more times than I can count, he told the captivated audience. But I learned that the world doesn't owe you success. You have to fight for it, even when it feels like no one believes in you. Especially then! Years later, as CEO, Daniel never forgot those dark nights. He'd often revisit that same park bench, and every time, he'd smile at the little flower still blooming through the cracks. A constant reminder that even in the toughest conditions, life finds a way. And so can we. When everything seems lost, remember, it's not the end. It's the beginning of the version of you that refuses to give up. If this story inspired you to rise again, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thank you for watching.